Hi, my name's Melissa, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of the dangers of secondhand smoke. The child that always smells like a stale cigarette doesn't choose to smell that way, and the new infant that should smell like fresh powder smells more like an ashtray. You know these are the children of smokers who choose to put their child's health at risk, and to make them live involuntarily in a home with secondhand smoke. I'm passionate about the education, development, and well-being of young children. I have a 5-year-old son of my own, and as a mother I can tell you I do not allow anyone to smoke around my child. I have done some research to present the facts, and today I will share with you some of the facts about the dangerous effects of secondhand smoke and the dangers that they present to children, and I'll explain to you the seriousness of those dangers. Secondhand smoke is very dangerous to children in the home, and it causes problems with asthma, upper and lower respiratory tracts, the ears, and SIDS, and these risks should be considered before smoking around children. Let us begin with some background information on secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke is a silent killer that affects thousands of children on a daily basis by causing health problems with asthma, upper and lower respiratory tracts, your ears, SIDS, and so much more. Secondhand smoke affects children's health in many different ways. Secondhand smoke is a mixture of the smoke given off by the burning end of a cigarette, cigar, or pipe, and it's mixed with the smoke that's exhaled by the smoker. According to the Environmental Protection Agency's website, secondhand smoke contains more than 4,000 substances, and several of them are known to be carcinogenic. Secondhand smoke is sometimes referred to as environmental tobacco smoke, otherwise known as ETS. So many adults who are to blame are surprisingly the parents of the children. According to the National Survey of Environmental Management of Asthma and Children's Exposure to Environmental Tobacco Smoke, parents are responsible for 90% of children's exposure to ETS. Also in the survey, it was found that 11% of children ages 6 and under are exposed to ETS on a regular basis. Secondhand smoke contains many unhealthy components, and it often contributes to health problems of children who live with parents who smoke inside their home. Now let's take a look at some of the health concerns of these children. Children are particularly vulnerable to the effects of secondhand smoke because they are still developing physically, they have higher breathing rates than adults, and they have little control over their indoor environments. According to PubMed Health's website, asthma is a disorder that causes the airways and lungs to swell and narrow, leading to wheezing and shortness of breath and chest tightness, and a lot of coughing also. Also on the website, it stated that asthma is the most common chronic childhood disease, affecting 1 in 13 children annually. Many children who have never had symptoms often exhibit symptoms after living with a smoker, as well as triggering new cases, which can often become much more severe in children that have already had asthma. Secondhand smoke can also make those attacks much more worse. So according to PubMed Health's website, an estimated about 200,000 asthmatic children have their conditions worsened by exposure to ETS on a yearly basis. Secondhand smoke poses the risk of attributing to the cases of newly developed asthma, worsening pre-existing cases of, and it's one of the most chronic childhood diseases. Let's take a look at another health risk to children other than asthma. Children involuntarily living in ETS environments are more at risk for developing upper and lower respiratory tract problems. Upper respiratory issues as well as the lower respiratory issues are developed, and many children are hospitalized. According to the EPA's website, there's an increased risk for the lower respiratory infections like bronchitis and pneumonia. The EPA also estimates that 150,000 to 300,000 of these cases annually in infants and young children up to 18 months old are attributed to ETS. There's anywhere from 7,500 to 15,000 cases that will result in the child's hospitalization each year, says the EPA. Now, each year many children are becoming sick and or hospitalized due to upper and lower respiratory issues triggered by ETS. Now let's look at a couple of other known health risks. Infants and children exposed to secondhand smoke do have the increased risk of ear damage or even death. These risks are important to consider since they could have long-term effects dealing with the ears and even death by SIDS. According to the EPA's website, children exposed to secondhand smoke are at an increased risk for middle ear infection. The researchers of Harvard School of Public Health say that they found a reduction in secondhand smoke in homes was associated with fewer cases of otitis media, which is also known as middle ear infection. Multiple ear infections can eventually cause permanent hearing damage. So it's also known that the exposure to secondhand smoke attributes to sudden infant death syndrome. According to the Center for Disease Control's website, SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, is the sudden, unexplained, unexpected death of an infant within the first year of life. Also on the CDC's website, it states that chemicals in secondhand smoke appear to affect the brain in ways that interfere with its regulation of the infant's breathing. Infants and children who are regularly exposed to secondhand smoke have the increased risk of damage to the ears or even death. Now that you know the dangers of secondhand smoke, I want you to stop and think about it. Secondhand smoke is very dangerous to children in the home. It causes problems with asthma, upper and lower respiratory tract, the ears, as well as death by SIDS. And there's multiple other health problems that could come with smoking as well. These risks should not be taken lightly. We need to take care of our children and not pollute their lungs and make them smell bad. Children are much more special to us than that. Just look at what smoking can do to you. These are the teeth of a smoker and also the lungs of a smoker. Do you want to be a smoker? Do you want to cause this problem to other people? I think not. Think twice before you smoke around my kid.